Well, here we are today again. What is the date today, man? Well, here it is, October 20th. Now, the 21st of October is the day the spaceman has to go to court and tell them why he is not guilty of being drunk.
The hell I do. I'm not going to court. I'm going to Mexico. And by God, if they want to find me, they can start trying, but I doubt it because I'm going to be well hid.
Thank you, Spaceman. And Spaceman and Maria here. Maria is the Spaceman's new bride. They got married Wednesday. Today is Sunday. And they're celebrating their honeymoon. Here, my path.
And what a honeymoon. Believe me, she is wonderful.
Well, you know, I haven't bought the Spaceman a bottle of wine for many moons because he's been 86 so much. I decided if I'm going to buy him wine, he'd never get down to 42. Now, how are you feeling today, Spaceman?
I'm right on a very cool 42 today. Cool 42, not a fractional bomb.
Well, you better stay there because if you go over 42, out the back door.
Well, that's sure a privilege, but, my bride has a beautiful butt, and if I go, you kick my bride's butt, I'll do.
Spaceman has spoken. Anyway, we're going to have a little jam session today. Ev Gonzalez is over, and a new friend I met last night. Slots plays very good drums, is going to play. And Vivian's going to be here. And Old Oaks is going to blow the axe.
And Old Oaks is a son of a bitch, but nevertheless, he loaned me his razor, so I forgive him for all he's done, even including the fact that he stole the Mahalala and he's hiding it someplace, and he won't give it to me.
Well, that's a lie. Goodbye, Spaceman. Later. We'll see you. Bye, Maria. There goes the great Spaceman and his beautiful bride, Maria, out the back door, walking down the alley. And they'll be back later. What do you think, George, about that getup, that uniform, and that hat and robe and everything that he had on today? What do you think of that outfit?
Well, I'll tell you, amazing couldn't describe it. It was startling. Same as Spaceman is always startling. So startling, he's obnoxious.
That is an understatement of the day. Anyway, the old Spaceman came down the beach this morning with a big arm of groceries in his arms, and he and Maria were coming over to have breakfast here at my house. They brought their own eggs and bacon and toast and milk. The Spaceman had on a Chinese coolie hat, which was down over his ears, and it had a flaming red bandana type thing that tied underneath his chin. Then he had on these fantastic dark glasses with great big horn rims, and over his shoulder he was carrying, Indian style like a Cherokee that he is, a blanket. And if you with that big bundle of groceries in his arms and Maria on his arm there, that was a weird sight. It looked like a friend's gypsy got lost on the ocean front here at Ocean Beach. Here comes George again.
No, that get-up he had on, I said, was startling, and it didn't become obnoxious until I found out who was under it. Then it became obnoxious.
Well, here he comes back again. The Spaceman didn't make it. What do you want, Spaceman? Well, he left his colored glasses here somewhere. How about right behind that chair there with that hat with the red bandana on it? Well, take the glasses. He's jumping around here like a madman looking for his glasses. Oh, he just burped. Maybe his glasses are out front. Look out front, Spaceman.
I'm afraid you close the door and you lock me out.
No, I won't lock you out. Well, when a colored man loses... when the Spaceman loses his colored glasses, there he is.
Thanks, George. Thank you very much, George. I found my colored glasses in my back pocket. I thought for a moment...
Hey, Spaceman, while we're about it now, just in a fast thumbnail account of how you almost got thrown in jail in Tecate the day before yesterday with that big fire you had.
Well, I'll tell you, it was this way.
Let me fix it.
We got Maria here for a witness. She was with me. And I just married her. I just married Maria, and we had a bunch of firewood in the back of the car now. And we're going out to have a little picnic up on the side of the mountain there. We goes up this dirt road now, and Maria suddenly decides that she's driving the car, and it gets a little too dangerous. The road gets narrow, and And she gets real scared. And so she says, I don't want to go up here. I says, well, God damn it. I said, we've only been married for one day. And I says, if you want to run this goddamn show, I'll run it. I said, you run the show, and we'll build a bonfire wherever you want to build it. So she says, well, let's turn back, and we'll find some other place. So it goes over about 3 miles or about 10 miles out of Tecate. And so we find a great big lot over there that covers several hundred acres, and we see 3 beautiful, great big oak trees out. I says, how about that last one? That thing was about 10 feet in diameter, and I says, we'll build our little fire under there. She says, okay. So we goes down there, we unload all the equipment out of the car, we get all the firewood out, we're going to build a little bonfire under the tree, and suddenly I goes around, and I find a hole in the side of the tree where they've been having fires in there for hundreds of years. Probably the whole goddamn thing was burned out on the inside and covered with charcoal, and it was big enough to build a home in there. You could build a whole room in there. So I put a bunch of newspapers in there, and I starts this fire. We put all these 2x4s and things we had in the back of the car in now. We built this fire, and we had a couple of steaks, which are the goddamn toughest steaks I've ever eaten in my life. And in fact, Maria, come here. How tough were they? They were stuffed, you couldn't chew them. I think, tell them.
Well, they were steaks that we were broiling, and the flames got a little bit warm, and we dropped them in the fire.
We didn't drop them, you did.
But we finally rescued them, and they were slightly charcoaled. But I thought they were very good.
They were very good, except you ate yours and I didn't get mine, because about that time, the goddamn fire department comes rolling up, and we're 10 miles outside of Tecate, way out in the sticks. Here comes the fire department, and the hoses wouldn't reach. I start rolling the hoses out and bringing the chemical sprays. They wouldn't reach. So this guy comes over and he says, what's the matter here? And just about that time, here comes a fast car, a black and white car comes rolling up, and he says, what in the hell are you doing here? I says to him, what in the hell are you doing here? I says, this is my private pad. This is my bride. I just married her. We're having a little picnic. He says, did you start that fire in that tree? I says, you goddamn better well believe I didn't. That fire was flaming when we came here, and we came here merely to put it out. In fact, in fact, I don't think Maria was putting out too much. But anyway, he saw that we had 2 2x4s sticking out of the car window, out of the back window, see? And so they called the chief of police. And so I says to Maria, I says, we got to ditch those 2x4s sticking out of the car. They'll know we started this goddamn fire. So I takes those way down in the brush and ditched them. And here comes the chief of police, whom we'd already met, and we were friends with him anyway. And he says, don't you know any better than to do a thing like that? And I says, I didn't do anything. He says, do you do things like that in America? Come here. And what did you say?
We said, yes, certainly we did. We were in the habit of cooking our meal out by bonfire every night on the beach. And it wasn't anything unusual for us to have a fire outside. But we were a little surprised to have it set the tree on fire.
What? The tree was set on fire? Holy mackerel.
Yeah, well, here's what happened. We started the goddamn fire inside the tree, and I didn't know that it went clear up on the inside of the tree. And here the whole top of the tree was on fire, and you can see it for miles. And that's why they call the fire department, see? And so we didn't know the whole goddamn part of the top of the tree was on fire. And so this young fuzz, he comes along, and he says, you are under arrest. I says, well, you stupid son of a bitch. I says, who in the hell are you to tell me I'm under arrest? I says, what is the charge? He says, well, the chief will be back in just a minute, and then you're going to have to explain to him. And I says, well, I'll explain to him to fire you because you're stupid. And so the chief comes back. In the meantime, I says, I can put this goddamn fire out before the fire department gets back. But in the meantime, they sent out for a truck where they had a lot of shovels and so forth. So we started taking a little saucepan, and we dumped a whole bunch of dirt on the fire in there. We put the whole goddamn thing out except the part that was way up in the top down. And by the time they got back, we had the whole goddamn fire out in the bottom now. And there was just a little blaze up in the top of the tree. And so then they gets back, and what they do then? They had some shovels, didn't they?
Oh, well, by the time the fire department arrived, they had some shovels, and they were talking very rapidly in Spanish and throwing dirt on all in Spanish. They were throwing dirt on the fire, and we quietly walked over to the car and left very quickly.
You're a hell of a goddamn liar. We didn't walk over quietly because I was talking so goddamn fast to keep us out of jail. That while I was doing the talking, I said, let's move this stuff in the car, and the chief of police was over there. They had 2 squad cars and 1 fire department. All these guys were throwing dirt on the fire there, and I was talking so goddamn fast, you know, keep us out of jail. Yak, 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 and while I'm yak, yak, I'm carrying stuff over the car. Maria's carrying stuff over the car, and suddenly we got everything in, including the tough beefsteaks. And I says, I'm very sorry. I'm getting very bored of the situation. Come on, Maria, let's go. And so we went. Wasn't that right? Wasn't that right?
And as we left, we heard the fire department and the chief of police talking in Spanish, and everything seemed to be under control.
And so it is.
And so now they're going back to Tecate and live happily ever after. Well acquainted with the fire department and the police department, and vice versa. I'm sure Tecate is going to love to have the spaceman in amongst their midst.
Well, I hope so, because the spaceman, there's only one spaceman. Thank God for that.
Hey, wait a minute, spaceman. Did you give any numbers out over there in Tecate?
Oh, Christ. We gave out hundreds, and they're anxious. They can't hardly wait till we get back to get a few more of them.
Why do people...
much,
tell the reason why people need numbers. Come on in. Well, here comes my friend Nate and his wife. Nate! All right, wait a minute. I'm just asking the spaceman one more question here. What's the reason why people need... All right, spaceman... And, glad you got here, man. Spaceman is now kissing Rosalie's hand. All right, why do people need numbers? And incidentally, Nate told me last night that he wants a number today because he feels like he's one of them.
We'll answer first questions first.
Well,
I'll be goddamn if I know why people need numbers, but they all ask me for numbers. I don't know why.
Well, why you told me, you says, man, he says, if you wake up some morning and you get out of bed and there's no floor there, just air, he says, man, you better have a number. Now, Nate, do you want a number? We'll put it right on tape here, so this will be legal.
Well, I'm going to give Nate one of the very best numbers. You see, the low numbers are the best, like 1, 2, 3, up to 100. Those are the low numbers. What's your number, by the way?
I was promoted, remember, from XIL over little one to XL.
Oh, well,
I'm up in that higher bracket.
Well, don't get jealous, because I'm going to give Nate a very much better number. You see, the low numbers are the best, but better than that are titles, like
right.
King, Prince, Duke, a Marquis, Knight, and so forth. Prince Nate. Prince Nate.
Crazy, that's Prince Nate. All right, what about would you like a number, Rosalie? I mean, or title? Whatever you... Well, I mean, we'll have to see what comes through. I don't know what's coming through for Rosalie.
I'll be goddamn if I know either.
Come on.
But we'll find out. Maria, what do you think we ought to do for... Princess. Give her a number. Make it Princess.
All right, I'll make it Princess Rosalie.
Over little one. So what's he, Prince? Yeah, Prince Nate and Princess Rosalie. Well, how about that? We have royalty already amongst us. My toes.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
Poor little toes.
Baby, I'm sorry, but I have corns and just trying to husk you.
Now go on, beat it. Get out of here for a while. Give us, cool it. As I say, there's only one spaceman, and thank God for that.